Hey YouTube, what's up? It is your girl, Dr. J, the midlife writer, and today's observation of what I'm seeing in South Korea. And again, excuse the sun. Y'all know I gotta have my sun. I gotta be facing the sun at all times, and so sometimes that puts a shadow on my face, and we just gonna work with it because I love sunlight. I love natural light, and I get to have that a lot here, so I'm loving it. But the observation that I wanted to talk about today was technology here in South Korea. It has been really, really interesting to see how much technology there is that's incorporated into your day-to-day life. And look, I won't say like day-to-day life, but kind of your experience here in South Korea. So let's talk about some of those things. What some of those things are. So, for instance, when my family and I'm going to move my screen a little bit. Yeah, so my family and I, we went to a hotel, and at the hotel, we saw this thing in the menu, and it said, okay, robot delivery. So we're like, really? So we placed the order for some bottles of water, and we paid for those bottles of water. And then we got notification. About 10, 20 minutes later, got notification. Went to the door. There was a robot outside our door with bottles of water, with the bottles of water that we had paid for. So we could just grab the bottles of water from the robot, and the robot, went on its way. We went to one of the museums in Seoul, and you could go up to a robot that they had, robot tour guide that they had there. You could put in what language you would like that robot to give you information in, what you wanted to see. The robot would guide you to that place where that display was in the museum, and talk to you about the history of it, and give you some additional information that was not in the brochure itself or really on display itself. So that was just like a really interesting thing. Another thing that you see kind of, in your day-to-day offerings is that there are a lot of apps that are there for you to use. There's a lot of technology just when you go into various places and spaces that have been incorporated into those experiences. But it has not been at the expense of employees. I know in the United States, when people talk about, hey, robots are going to be implemented in, it's like, yeah, that robot's going to take your job. However, when we went to we were at a domestic airline here in South Korea, because we had a domestic flight from one part to another part of South Korea. And there was a lot of technology that was integrated into that experience. We used the self check-in, got our boarding pass, and all that sort of stuff. There was, a lot of technology that was throughout the space. Even for a baggage claim, there's a screen that shows a camera that's letting you know what bags are about to come out, so you can see and get ready for your bag. Oh, I see my bag is about to come out, and then your bag will come out and be on the carousel for you to grab it, so you know when it's coming and to get in position. However, there were a ton of employees at the same airport as well. So for instance, at our airline, at our gate, not at the check-in place, but at our gate, there were 5 employees at our gate, and it wasn't a huge plane, and we had a delay. It was like, it ended up in total being an hour and a half delay. Not a big deal, but they would come out, and on a display it would tell you, hey, there's a delay, but then they would actually have somebody come out and write on a board, here's your flight number, here's the delay, here is what the delay is, and here's why your flight is delayed. And then they would say, if you have any questions, come up here. And then there was 4 employees who would stand there next to that board, and then you could go up and ask them questions about your flight, what changed, do you need any other information. And it was like that at every single gate in the airline. So it's not like, hey, we use robots, we use technology, so we don't need people. There still was people working there. You still got customer service from an actual human being. It's just that technology is integrated into that experience so that the things that can be, done by robots are done by robots, so that the people could help actual people. Because like I said, we did self-check-in, but when we went to check our bags, that was done by a person. Why? Because a person is going to ask you questions. If your bag is overweight, they're gonna, hey, you gotta, let's take out some things. Like, there was somebody there who could help you through the process. And for us, since we're foreigners, check our passports and all that other sort of stuff. But we still used a ton of technology while we were there. So that was the thing that I have been really, really impressed with since I've been in South Korea. The amount of technology that is integrated into so many aspects of your experience and so many things that you do, but it has not been robots replaced people. Because even at the hotel, there were a ton of employees at the hotel. There were a lot of people at the front desk. So it wasn't one or two overworked staff people trying to check everybody in. There were several people at the front desk. There were people who were available that you could ask questions to and could give you customer service, because the things that could be handled automatically or on an app or at a kiosk, those were done in that way so that their time was spent actually helping real people and being able to have your questions answered by a real person and having that personal touch by a real person. So that has been a really cool experience. And the technology that I have encountered here would absolutely wow the average American, because it's not anything that I've experienced in the States, with things just being everything that can be automated is, and then there's not this pressure of trying to figure out a system and not having somebody there who can help you. There's people there that can help you. I do say that from the privilege of being a American, a U.S. American citizen. So I know America has a lot of spaces, and so America continent has more places than just the United States, but having been a United States citizen, which means that English is used here a lot. So when I go up to a kiosk, I generally always have the option to use that kiosk in either Korean or English. And so if I'm a Portuguese or Spanish or French or German or a person who speaks, a language that's not Korean or English, I am not sure how that experience is. I know when we were in the museum, the robots there were about 10 languages you could choose from. But some of the other kiosks that I encounter, there may be, 2 or 3 languages. Korean, of course, is always going to be a language, but English seems to be always available as well. And the signs that I encounter, most of the signs that I encounter, they are in Korean and English. So very automated, using like the train system, but it's not as bad for me because using that automated system, there's generally an English option, and I'm sort of getting to the point where I can kind of navigate through the Korean options as well. So I enthusiastically embrace the technology, but part of that could be because I have the privilege of being able to get directions in English. I do know that Google Translate works really well here, at least translating from Korean to English. So that might help people if their language isn't available and Google Translate is good in your language. That may be an option when you have to use some of the technology that is available. But the technology that is available has been, I mean, chef's kiss, amazing, and things that I thought were only in the movies. So hope that gives you some perspective. This is Dr. J, the Midlife Writer. Bye-bye.